Welcome to the One-Year Book of Mormon. A non-Mormon reads through the Book of Mormon. Mosiah chapter 8. Chapter overview. King Limhi has Ammon tell the people what had happened in Zarahemla after these people of Lehi-Nephi left. Then the king tells Ammon about their experience since leaving Zarahemla, as well as of the existence of gold plates in some foreign language. And Ammon tells the king that while he can't interpret them, there is a seer in Zarahemla who can interpret such plates by looking through things called interpreters. Verse 1 says that King Limhi's speech of the last chapter was much longer, for he spake many things unto them, but that only a few of them have I written in this book. Remember, though, that Nephi had no problems with inscribing 13 entire chapters of Isaiah at one time, plus more chapters here and there, when they had the entirety of Isaiah already on another record, just because he liked the words. In verse 7, the king says that at some point in the past, because they were afflicted by the Lamanites and wanted to have the help of the people of Zarahemla, he sent 43 people through the wilderness to try to find that city. Is it just a coincidence that Lewis and Clark's wilderness expedition had 33 people when it started exploring the land of the Louisiana Purchase only about 20 to 25 years before this was written? Verse 8 describes the failed Zarahemla expedition with the people having traveled in a land among many waters, having discovered a land which was covered with bones of men and of beasts, etc., and was also covered with ruins of buildings of every kind, having discovered a land which had been peopled with a people which were as numerous as the hosts of Israel. Where in all of North and South America could this land among many waters be? Places that spring to mind include perhaps areas of Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, or Wisconsin, or, drumroll please, the Great Lakes area near where Joseph Smith lived. In fact, it's only about 20 miles from the historic Smith family farm in Palmyra to Rochester, which is on the lake, and even fewer miles, less than 20 miles, if you go due north to Lake Ontario. Verses 9 through 11 speak of many metal objects. We have the 24 plates made of pure gold, not just gold in appearance, but pure gold, this says, upon which is apparently inscribed with some record or history, and swords that are cankered with rust. Again, rust is metallic. Obviously, these swords are made of metal. And then breastplates of brass and copper. I'm pointing this out just in case anybody tries to claim that the reason there are no Book of Mormon artifacts is because that they didn't have metal. They didn't make things in metal. They made things out of like wooden swords or things like that. In verse 12, King Limhi asks Ammon if he can translate the gold plates. And in his response in verse 13, he introduces us to interpreters that are not really described, except to say that no man can look in them except he be commanded, but if he does, he'll perish, if he looks in them without being commanded to. And also that the person who, quote, is commanded to look in them, the same is called seer. So, since a seer, by this definition, is defined as one who has been commanded to look into the interpreters, and since the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints holds the title of seer, that should mean that he's been commanded to look into the interpreters. But where are they? This description of the interpreters, scarce as it is, and of the method of interpretation, of looking through these interpreters, is in line with early Mormon belief that Joseph Smith translated the Book of Mormon via looking through large spectacles, apparently at the brass plates, looking through the spectacles at the brass plates in his physical possession, in order to translate the Book of Mormon. But this is not in line with the rock and a hat method of interpretation, which the Mormon Church now agrees that he did do. In verses 14 through 16, Ammon identifies the king of Zarahemla as the one who is the seer and can interpret, and says that a seer is greater than a prophet, and that a seer is a revelator and a prophet also, and a gift which is greater can no man have, except he should possess the power of God, which no man can. Yet a man may have great power given him from God. So here we have the combination of seer, prophet, and revelator, all wrapped up into one. But we are told that no man can possess the power of God, in contradiction to traditional Mormonism, which holds that God was once a man who lived on another planet, and humans can become gods by being obedient to laws and principles. And therefore, they believe man can hold the power of God. Verse 17. Oh boy. If you're looking for examples of bad grammar in the original 1830 Book of Mormon version, then this verse would be one definitely to keep in mind. There is more subject-verb disagreement than subject-verb agreement. Now, normally I don't draw attention to the poor grammar in the 1830 Book of Mormon. It's not something I just really care that much about. But I am mentioning this here because it shows that this obviously came straight from the poorly educated Joseph Smith. But since most modern Mormons don't realize how badly their prophet's original revelation from God was, you might need to give them some examples from time to time. And here's this one. Okay. Verse 17 in the original Book of Mormon. But a seer can know of things which has passed. Things which has passed. And also of things which is to come. And by them shall all things be revealed, or rather shall secret things be made manifest, and hidden things shall come to light, and things which is not known shall be made known by them, and also things shall be made known by them which otherwise could not be known. The chapter ends with several verses praising and extolling God, which would be nice, but these don't contradict the Bible or modern Mormonism, and other than the fact that they sound like they were plagiarized from the Bible, they are otherwise not noteworthy.